little cola radio, dispensing a daily dose of common sense.
Oh boy, am I flying by the seat of my pants this morning? got so much stuff. So trying to get ready and get going. We're already into the show open. Here we go.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. The Donald Trump, as you just heard on Fox News Radio, telling a rally in Long Island that he'll save New York, and he asked voters, what the hell do you have to lose? He said. So he talked about the most recent attempts to kill him have hardened my resolve, he said. And he said, these encounters with death have not broken my will. So this was in front of about 16,000 fans. And Trump said, they have really given me a much bigger and stronger mission. They've only hardened my resolve to use my time on earth to make America great again, for all Americans to put America first. And Trump said, that's the reason I'm here. We are going to win New York. It's incredibly close in New York for Trump. Republican hasn't won a Republican hasn't won in New York since the 1980s, I think, if I remember correctly. And Trump said of winning New York, he says that's the first time in many, many years that a Republican can honestly say it. And we're going to do it, Trump said. We have to do it. We do it, and the election nationwide is over. We take over the White House, and we fix up our country, Trump said. And we're going to have the greatest win in history when we pull this one off. It'll be legendary. Great story on this morning at the New York Post versus what you read at the New York Times. New York Times. And Trump said, I will say to the people of New York, with crime at record levels, with terrorists and criminals pouring in, and with inflation eating your hearts out, vote for Donald Trump. What the hell do you have to lose, he said. Repeated that question several times to the audience. He said, we're going to rescue our Democrat-run states. We're going to start by saving the great state of New York. And then he was talking about illegals in New York. He said, you got to get rid of these people. Give me a shot. You will have a safe New York within 3 months. For every New Yorker being terrorized by this wave of migrant crime, November 5th will be your liberation day because you are living like hell, Trump said. So again, crowd of 16,000 people. And he said, now, Donald Trump has had a pretty tough time in New York State. And with all of the trials and so on, and he talked about that. He said, despite all of the persecution I've endured from the corrupt judicial system in New York, he said, I love the people of this state and I want to get back. I'm going to reduce your taxes, reduce your crime, reduce your levels of stress, he said. And then he talked about his platform of eliminating federal taxes on tips, overtime pay, Social Security benefits. Said the only thing that I will increase are your incomes, and your love for your state will come roaring back, he said. Wow. Pretty incredible remarks by Donald Trump during this rally on Long Island. And then he also, as part of his stop in New York, he was on the Gutfeld show on Fox News Channel last night. And he spoke with Greg Gutfeld. And so the Trump joked that golf is a very dangerous game. So he, and in fact, Gutfeld asked, he said, how's your golf game? He asked of Trump. And Trump said, well, I haven't been thinking about it too much lately. I've always said golf is a very dangerous game. And then he also, while he was in New York, he was talking about, joked about his wife writing a new memoir. And he said that the First Lady's book will be released in October, Trump said. And he said, go out and get her book. She just wrote a book. I hope she said good things about me. Go out and buy it. It's great. And if she says bad things about me, I'll call you up and I'll say, don't buy it. Get rid of it. Trump says that. And the audience laughs. Of course. That's a big story this morning. Also, this is a great piece at justthenews.com. And the headline caught my attention. I think it was the main story this morning. Headline, Bud the Fold, headline story at justthenews.com this morning. While press peppers Vance with gotchas, real voters seek substantive answers from him and Trump. And I got to tell you, this piece is great because here's what it does. They show questions that Donald Trump was asked at his town hall. And then they show questions that were asked by the legacy media. And it is the insightfulness of the question coming from folks on Main Street versus the questions that are being asked by the media is just striking. Absolutely striking. I'll run through some of those over the course of the morning this morning because it's pretty incredible. Trump on Gutfeld also talked about the ABC debate. And during this appearance on Gutfeld, he went after the ABC anchors and he said, I think my only regret is that I wanted to be elegant and I didn't want to go after the anchors. I wish I did in a way, he said. I was very unfairly treated by the anchor. I'm not fans of those guys anymore. And his hair was better 5 years ago. Yeah, I think that's true for all of us, Trump said. That happens with the clock. Trump said of the moderators that they never corrected Kamala Harris once, and they corrected me everything I said, practically, Trump said. And he said, if I were Winston Churchill, he was a great debater, by the way, and an elegant debater. If I were Winston Churchill, they would say, well, he was okay, but he wasn't special tonight, Trump said. Well, we're talking about Trump, and then we're going to, so I'll move on to some other big stories this morning. There is a story, the Arizona Cardinals are apologizing to a woman after she was told to throw her Make America Great Again hat in the trash if she wanted to go into the game. And so she was forced to throw it in the trash. And now the Arizona Cardinals are apologizing. They're saying, now the story of this woman is coming out, and others are saying same thing happened to them, that they were forced to throw their Make America Great Again hats away in order to enter the game. But the Arizona Cardinals say it actually was an isolated incident involving a stadium security member who misunderstood a policy on prohibited items. And they said, like most venues, signage, posters, flags, displays that are political in nature are not permitted. However, that did not apply in this instance. And so moving forward, we're going to work to provide clarity, they said, to all stadium personnel in these situations We've also reached out to the individual involved to communicate that their experience was not consistent with our policies and practices and to apologize for that, say the Arizona Cardinals. So the woman is a native of Arizona. She's a Cardinals season ticket holder. And stadium staffer told her to take off her hat. You can't bring that in here, the staffer said. And she told her, she's like, no political hats or shirts. And I said, I haven't heard that at all. I said, that doesn't make sense to me. And she goes, I said, take your hat off. Woman saying, in retrospect, I wish I would have stood my ground a little bit, but I wasn't sure what the repercussions would be. My husband would kill me if I did something with the season tickets or jeopardize them somehow, she says. So the Arizona Cardinals now are apologizing for that. Also, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters is not endorsing anyone in this presidential election. They are not endorsing Kamala Harris, nor are they endorsing Donald Trump. The Teamsters boast more than 1 million members nationally. They polled their members. They found that 60% of them plan on voting for Donald Trump. Perhaps more notable was the fact that when facing off with President Joe Biden, who actually withdrew from the race in July, Trump actually trailed. So since Biden withdrew now from the race and it's Kamala Harris, you get 60% of Teamsters that say that they support Donald Trump. And the Teamsters is saying we're not going to, it's divided country. And I think a lot of us understand that. You just have to look in the news on any given day to understand that's kind of what's going on in the country right now. So you got 60% of Teamsters supporting Trump, but they're not going to endorse him. And Donald Trump says that in itself, he said, is actually a win. That they are not endorsing Kamala Harris. Also, the government funding plan was rejected, by lawmakers yesterday. Government funding expires at the end of September. So the bill was voted down in a 220 to 202 vote. Some House Republicans joined Democrats to oppose it. This is the stopgap bill. It's called a continuing resolution in order to keep the government running. Anybody believe the government's actually going to? I mean, we're already spending money that we do not have. Racking up our debt into the trillions. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. So this bill that failed was included the SAVE Act. That's the measure that would require proof of citizenship when registering to vote in federal elections. But the Biden administration opposes the act, said that non-citizen voting is already illegal. There's no evidence that it happens. Wow. And we just had another state having to pull 100,000 people off the voter rolls here recently. That story is actually trending this morning. Arizona, I think, had to pull 100,000 people off the voter rolls who were mistakenly. So the Teamsters not endorsing Donald Trump, nor are they endorsing Kamala Harris, which is, I think, pretty significant. Also, these exploding pagers and walkie-talkies now This is incredible. This has been a big story over the course of the last few days. Walkie-talkies and handheld radios that were acquired along with the pagers, because we all know about the pagers. It's been big news this week that these pagers exploded. There's some video of these pagers exploding in some places that you can find online. Now, in a second wave, you've had, I think, now it's walkie-talkies and handheld radios exploded in 3 areas of Lebanon yesterday. Killed 20 people, injured at least 450 people. And this is Lebanese media then said the wave of enemy explosions that targeted walkie-talkies killed 20 people, wounded more than 450, they said. That's coming from the Palestinian Health Ministry. So these explosions now come a day after exploding pagers killed 12 people and injured about 3,000 members of Hezbollah. And this is really a game changer, kind of the going after these pagers and walkie-talkies, and Israel's not claiming a responsibility for this, but it's now you're going to have people worried. Now they're going to be worried about the equipment that they're carrying, and there are those who think this may create some real opportunities then for Israel, and as well as I don't think this country would ever take advantage of those opportunities, but it's going to create a lot of uncertainty then among people who are carrying this equipment as to whether or not they should have it, so on. Force them to make changes in the way they operate, and that would be good news for Israel. Also, California Governor Gavin Newsom this week signed legislation banning deepfakes. That's what they're called, deepfakes, political deepfakes. But as soon as that news was out on Tuesday, Elon Musk encouraged his his followers on X to share an AI doctored video of Vice President Kamala Harris. It's the same video that triggered Newsom to enact the legislation in the first place. So Elon Musk immediately clapping back at this. He shared the video back in July, and then Newsom said he would outlaw those kinds of videos in California. Newsom said manipulating a voice in an ad like this one should be illegal. I'll be signing a bill in a matter of weeks to make sure it is, and he did. He said that it's critical that AI is not deployed to undermine the public's trust through disinformation. They're parody videos. I think some of us believe that Americans are smart enough to be able to discern for themselves as to whether those videos are real or. So we've got to talk about that in more detail coming up this morning. Also, Kentucky State Police said that a body has been found in an area where several people were shot off of Interstate 75 almost 2 weeks ago. Remember, the search was underway for Joseph Couch. He was the suspected shooter. Well, police were notified around 3:30 yesterday afternoon that 2 troopers and 2 civilians had found a body near the area. This was in an area less than a mile away from the shooting scene. And So the coroner has not yet positively identified the body as Couch, but police said there were articles associated with the body that would lead them to believe that, in fact, it was him. And this is, and I wondered about this, that he might kill himself. And then as that search went on and they weren't finding him, so the sheriff said he hopes with the investigation winding down that the county can go back to operating as usual. He also said the Couch's family had cooperated, saying that they should not be blamed for his decisions. And the sheriff saying, I really wish we could have located Joe Couch and we would have had him live. We could have asked him what his intentions were, put him through the courts. Prosecutors could have prosecuted him. Nobody on this stage would wish we found him in the condition we found him. So it certainly appears that it is Joe Couch, although, again, his body has not yet been positively identified. And this was found by a live streaming couple who do live streaming that actually were along with pointed it out to law enforcement. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Very much appreciated. Great to have you along. 627. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Oh, man, I've just been running like crazy here this morning. Yesterday, I was so prepared. Today, I was just running like a maniac. It's kind of a day-to-day situation. All right.
Makes creating a customized guest Wi-Fi experience easier. Visit mygroup.com/business to find your internet plan. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated. And you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. We find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
6:30. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. News and information updates are on the way. We'll check in with Fox News Radio, and then Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Local headlines coming up here quickly. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show here on Kello.
Vice President Harris takes the lead by 2 points over former President Trump in the new Fox News poll, 50-48 nationally.
Just over half of independents say they support the vice president, and 55% of Hispanics do. While the poll found 21% of non-MAGA identifying Republicans will not vote for the former president, he now has 29% support among Black voters.
That's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. 21 deaths are reported, more than 3,000 people injured in 2 days of Hezbollah fighters' electronic devices exploding in Lebanon. Pagers and walkie-talkies secretly manufactured and booby-trapped by Israeli intelligence.
The head of Hezbollah's executive council promised that Israel is in for a, quote, special punishment, but it looks like it's Israel mostly on the offensive. The Israeli Air Force hit several targets in southern Lebanon, including what the IDF says was a weapons storage facility.
Fox's Mike Tolan. America's listening to Fox News.
Callow News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Callow.com News Center. A road construction zone worker has died from injuries after a two-vehicle crash east of Wessington. Authorities say the female worker was directing traffic to slow down and stop at a construction zone on Highway 14. A larger commercial truck approached the area, failed to stop, struck a stopped vehicle, and then slammed into the woman. She died at the scene. The driver of the truck and the stopped vehicle both sustained minor injuries and were transported to a nearby hospital. The crash remains under investigation. $8 million earmarked for land that could hold a new convention center. The Sioux Falls City Council voted unanimously to set that money aside for the Riverline District purchase. It will require the approval of a new Riverline task force before it's a go. City Councilor Rich McCurris says that the task force is in the process of being formed.
So I would expect sometime over the next 7 to 10 days a public announcement of who will be serving on that committee, and then they begin meeting immediately and start the process of working towards a public vote with the goal of 2025 fall.
The proposed convention center would cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build. A commitment councilors say will require the approval of city voters. A former chiropractor in Hartford is admitting to having sexual contact with a minor. 32-year-old Joel Martins appeared in court yesterday to plead guilty to 12 counts of sexual contact with a minor by a person in authority. He'll be sentenced in November. If convicted, Martins could face up to a decade behind bars. And the Minnesota Twins choked in extra innings in a 5-4 loss to the Guardians in Cleveland yesterday. Carlos Correa hit a 2-run single to put Minnesota up by 2 in the top of the 10th, but Ronnie Enriquez failed to lock the game down in the next half inning, giving up 3 runs to lose the game. The Twins now just have a half-game lead for the final American League wildcard spot. Game 4 against Cleveland is this afternoon. From the Callow.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Callow News Talk 1320 107.9.
Mostly sunny skies for today. We'll have a high temperature of 82. Winds becoming west at 10 to 20 miles per hour. That will eventually help bring in some drier air. 56 our overnight low. Mostly clear skies tonight. High of 83 tomorrow. Mostly sunny. Southwest winds of 5 to 15. We'll watch for cooling temperatures this weekend. For the Kettleland Live Doppler Storm Center, I'm Scott Muntz.
The Sioux Empire's most talked about talk shows are right here. Callow News Talk 1320 107.9 and Callow.com.
That sextortion email you received may be more realistic and frightening than ever, but they're never real. I'm Kim Commander for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Accelerate your AI workload today. Take a free test drive at oracle.com/Kim. The word sextortion has been around even before the internet, back in the days of Polaroid cameras. Years ago, when many computers were kept in bedrooms, hackers would send emails claiming to turn on the computer's webcam and catch you undressing, or worse. Yesterday, a team member here at the Kim Commander Studios received an email saying pretty much the same. The scammer activated our associate's webcam, recorded him watching porn. Of course, $2,000 in Bitcoins would make it all go away. The hacker even included a photo of our studios. It's not hard to trace the real address of an IP number, but what the hacker did not have was a photo of our associate. They never do, because it's never real. Don't fall for it, but do be careful what you watch online. Enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 at winfromkim.com. AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing. And of course, nobody does that better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed at less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Kim. That's oracle.com/Kim, oracle.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kevin Line is brought to you by Tires. Your Give Me More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson. Combination windows. Optimizing the beautiful view of light in the bedroom, kitchen, and living room from ABC Seamless in Sioux Falls. Call 615-616-2667 today. ABC Seamless. Did you know your life insurance is an asset to yourself? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Apple.
Are you looking for a liquor store that's got it all without the hassle? Check out the new 49th Street Liquor at 49th in Minnesota. You're going to love it. You'll love the clean, spacious layout. It's filled with all your favorite beer, wine, and spirits. And the staff there is terrific, very friendly. They're going to help guide you to whatever you're looking for. They've got a massive walk-in beer cave. It's got a wide range of local brews that you'll find there. You can also check out their latest seltzers that are available in singles so that you can find your perfect match. And if you're looking for something special, they've got limited edition fine liqueurs, perfect for any occasion. If you've got a trip coming up, hunting trip, or otherwise you can stock up on all your favorite beverages, do not miss the Dakota Butcher section with fresh meats, steaks, pickled products, hot sauce. It's really kind of wonderful. You're going to find convenient parking, just steps from the door. So it's an easy shopping experience. And don't forget to grab their coupon in the Dakota Scout for extra savings. So if you're planning a trip to 49th Street Liquor, grab their coupon in the Dakota Scout, and it'll save you some extra money. The new 49th Street Liquor is your go-to for quality, convenience, and a personalized experience. 49th Street Liquor at 49th and Minnesota.
The Greg Belfrage Show, with insightful opinions on the latest stories and frequent weather updates. It'll get you in the know while you're getting ready to go. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9. Entertaining talk and news when it...
Oh, man, it's one of those days. $6:39. Mostly cloudy skies in 71. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show this hour, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Well, the top trending story this morning, Donald Trump in Springfield, Ohio. He plans to visit Springfield, Ohio in the next 2 weeks. And he also was entertaining his supporters on Long Island yesterday, and he used the rally to keep immigration and the border central to his campaign. He touched on a number of things, really speaking, I think, to a number of issues, I think, very, very well during this rally on Long Island yesterday. So he talked about visiting Springfield, Ohio, and he said, "You may never see me again," which because there have been claims about Haitian migrants in the city, he says. But Trump said see, this is pretty interesting, because when you look at the rally that he did in Long Island, this piece from the Daily Mail is really, again, he made a comment about he'll be visiting Springfield, Ohio in the next 2 weeks. But he really talked at length to the folks in New York and what will be coming up in the next few weeks really is not the story. He told the crowd, "I'll save New York," he said. "What the hell do you have to lose?" And he said these recent attempts to kill him had hardened his resolve. So again, you look at the Daily Mail and you look at the way some of these news outlets report on that story. There were a lot of things. New York Post has got a great story about Donald Trump and what he actually said. And then you've got the Daily Mail focused on this. It's pretty incredible, I think. So also there were reports out that explosives were found near Trump's Long Island rally, and police say there's no credibility to that. So there was a claim that explosives were found in a car parked near the venue. That was picked up by the Daily Mail yesterday morning, and it appeared to originate with a post on X from a former investigative reporter who cited anonymous sources within the sheriff's department saying that, and they're saying, no, there was no credibility to this at all. No credibility whatsoever. Also, Speaker Mike Johnson is saying that he's reacting to the plan to, this is the measure that would keep the government open, the stopgap funding measure. Well, that vote failed yesterday. And it was voted down 202 to 220, with 2 Republicans voting present. So at least 9 Republicans voted against the leadership bill. It was a 6-month extension of the current year's federal funding. Donald Trump had urged Republicans not to pass it yesterday. So he said if Republicans don't get the SAVE Act and every ounce of it, they should not agree to a continuing resolution in any way, shape, or form, Trump said. Democrats are registering illegal voters by the tens of thousands as we speak. They will be voting in the 2024 presidential election, and they shouldn't be allowed to, he says. Only American citizens should be voting in our most important election. So Donald Trump had been encouraging Republicans not to pass the budget bill without the SAVE Act. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Also, Representative Anna Paulina Luna said yesterday her office now has received a very serious shooting threat. She said on X this division and hate campaign against the Republicans is going to get someone killed. I will not be threatened, intimidated, or bow down to those using violence as a means to push their agenda. We will win, she said. America is the greatest country in the world. I will continue to fight for the wonderful people who have elected me, as well as those across the country that feel they are being left behind. Please keep my family in your prayers. Hate has no place here. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed legislation this week banning so-called deepfakes. We're talking about political parodies. Political parodies, that's what they are. And Newsom then immediately clapped back upon hearing the news. He encouraged his followers and the users of X to share a video that was altered by AI, shows Kamala Harris, and it's the same video that triggered Newsom to enact the legislation in the first place. So Elon Musk is not backing down. Musk wrote on X, he said, the governor of California just made this parody video illegal in violation of the Constitution of the United States. Would be a shame if it went viral. He said, share the video again. So the video has now been viewed 40 million times on X. It plays AI-generated audio of Harris saying she's a deep state puppet and a diversity hire, and it rips her record on the border. It's parody, clearly. Clearly parody. Clearly protected. Also, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters yesterday announced that they will not endorse a candidate for president. They will not be endorsing Kamala Harris, and they will not be endorsing Donald Trump. And some are frustrated, some Teamsters are frustrated by that, because polling shows 60% of Teamsters are favor Trump. 59.6% over Kamala Harris. Get a load of this. Okay, so Teamsters asked Trump or Harris, 59.6% Trump, 34% for Kamala Harris. Joe Biden had better numbers among Teamsters than Kamala Harris does. Also, the Federal Reserve yesterday said it's cutting its benchmark interest rate by half a percentage point, 0.5 percentage points. It's marking the first reduction in 4 years. And they say they're moving to ease borrowing costs as consumers are weary with inflation, grappling with high rates on everything from mortgages to credit cards. So the Fed said the cut lowers the federal funds rate into a range of 4.75% to 5%, which is down from where it had been, about 5.25 to 5.5%. That was its highest level in 23 years. Also, Vice President Kamala Harris sat down with the National Association of Black Journalists on Tuesday for a big interview. 5 takeaways from Newsweek. Gaza remains a tough issue for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump's comments about Springfield are not going away. Abortion is still Harris' strongest issue. Harris isn't taking the black vote for granted, and she's not comfortable talking about reparations. Also, there's a new celebrity endorsement for Kamala Harris, and I had to laugh. There's an opinion piece at the Daily Caller reacting to this. This Billie Eilish and Phineas have officially endorsed Kamala Harris for president. And this piece over at Daily Caller says their odd endorsement couldn't have been any less enthusiastic. Could have very well been written by Harris herself. The forced, overly scripted reading gave off Al-Qaeda hostage vibes and just kept getting weirder and weirder until it finally comes to an end. That's the opinion of the Daily Caller. Also, Republicans are demanding that the Secret Service increase Donald Trump's security following a second assassination attempt against him. This is trending stories tend to actually run a little bit behind the actual news. So this story is still out there. You have Senators Roger Marshall of Kansas and Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who sent a letter to the Secret Service on Tuesday saying that Trump's Secret Service detail needs to be offered additional resources, including greater staffing capabilities that would allow agents to secure a broader perimeter. Also, have you been following this illegal migrant from Venezuela? He's in the country illegally, and he's an influencer then on TikTok, and he's been ordered to leave. Again, he's originally from Venezuela. He went viral on social media for mocking America, and he encouraged squatting. You remember this guy? A judge has ordered him to be deported from the country. Problem is, Venezuela won't take him. Venezuela won't take him. The administration of Venezuela stopped accepting flights of migrants, making it now more difficult to deport them. And he became infamous earlier this year because of the TikTok videos that he was making. It's not the first time we've mentioned him on this program. So again, it's a diplomatic standoff. And I just thought, well, why can't we do a Super Dave Osborne kind of deal? Why can't we just shoot this guy out of just shoot him out of a cannon into Venezuela if they won't take him? Also, the Justice Department has filed a $100 million lawsuit against the operator of that vessel in that Baltimore Key Bridge wreck. So they filed a $100 million lawsuit this week against the owner and operator. Civil claim was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland. And so the ship's owner and manager are asking the court to limit their liability to less than $44 million. Also, Boeing has started furloughing tens of thousands of employees in the midst of a machinist strike. So striking Boeing workers have been picketing, and Boeing will temporarily furlough thousands of U.S. executives, managers, and other staff. And the reason, they say, is the ongoing machinist strike. The company is trying desperately to preserve money. Also, Microsoft and BlackRock are starting they're headlining a new group. It's called Global Artificial Intelligence Infrastructure Investment Partnership. What it is a group that wants to mobilize about $100 billion to invest in artificial intelligence. So this includes a number of groups, and Microsoft and BlackRock are joining forces. Also, the mayor of Atlantic City, New Jersey, and his wife were indicted this week on charges related to allegations of abuse of their teenage daughter. So now they're facing charges for that. Also, Tupperware filing for bankruptcy just months after Tupperware shuttered its last remaining plant in the U.S. They have been having a number of financial woes. So they formally announced the decision to initiate Chapter 11 proceedings in bankruptcy court on Tuesday. Arizona admits that nearly 100,000 non-citizen voters were wrongly listed on voter rolls. So they found nearly 100,000 voters who had not provided proof of U.S. citizenship, but still had full voting privileges. And the state is facing a lawsuit for not removing non-citizens from its voter rolls. So close to 100,000 incorrectly registered in Arizona. One green card holder found registered with full voting privileges. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. I really appreciate it. 6:57, currently 71. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Matters is the race for a better informed public. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9, and Kello.com.
In the yard, on the road, or in the field, you may be close to power lines. Take the time, every time, to check your clearances and keep your distance from electrical equipment, like overhead power lines and green boxes. And as always, do that final walk around. Take the time, every time you move large equipment. Your life may depend on it. This safety message is brought to you by Sioux Valley Energy and Southeastern Electric, your local Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Well, my friend, we're going to wrap up there for now, but I hope you'll join me coming up at 9:30 for the 4th hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Thanks so much for starting your day with us. I very much appreciate it. Hope to see you again tomorrow.
Every single day. Together, we're not just building roofs, we're building a legacy of betterment for generations to come. Here's to the future.